Hey everybody, Chrissy here at Queen City Clay. I'm about to do just a slab cylinder video, and I was going to throw out a slab for that, so I thought it'd be really nice to show you guys just a really quick demo on how to throw a slab out. I know we've got some video floating around out there somewhere of making a slab with probably a rolling pin and some slats, but I'm just going to throw this out. It's going to be really fast, and I don't care if it's like a perfect thickness of a slab. So I'm going to start with my block of clay that I've just taken out of the bag. Make sure it's kind of as flat as possible. If you've taken chunks out of it, flip it over and use the bottom side that's a little bit flatter. I'm looking at about, I don't know, an inch of clay. Doesn't really matter, but you want probably at least an inch. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my wire tool. I'm going to wrap it around the corners. I'm kind of just looking to see that it's kind of matching up from here to here in the thickness that I'm cutting off. And same for this side. And it's not going to be perfect, so don't worry about it. You're just getting as close as possible. So I'm going to start with my right hand, and I'm going to pull this clay from this front corner towards the back corner. So this wire is coming through at an angle, and this is what I'm taking off. So it's a little bit thicker on this side than this side. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be perfect. You're just going for kind of as flat as you can get it in that first go around. It'll just make your life easier in the next step. So get this clay out of the way here, wrap back up, and I'll show you how to throw this thing out. So when you're throwing out a piece of clay and trying to make a slab out of it, you do not want to slam it on the table as hard as you can. All that does, it leaves the clay thick in the middle and the edges get really thin. You're not stretching the clay, you're just kind of pounding it into the board. That's not what you're looking for. What you want is a motion where you're kind of flipping the clay out, and then as you pull back, you're going to drop the clay. So it's a flip, and then it's an exaggerated motion with your elbows where you will drop the clay. So the clay lands on the table and slides. And that's where you're getting that stretch, okay? So my fingers are pointing down. I'm flipping the clay up. And as I pull back, I'm letting go. Fingers are pointing down, flipping up, pulling back and letting go. And I might do that 3-4 times, flip it over the other way, do it a few times again, flip it. So I'll just kind of keep going back and forth, rotating the clay until I think it's as thin as I want it. All right, and you should be hearing like a soft thwap kind of a noise on the table. You shouldn't be hearing a big loud pound. That means you're trying too hard. Don't try too hard. Flip it up, let it go as you pull your elbows back. So it's a directional drop as opposed to a slam. All right, so I've got a decent size slab at this point, and it seems fairly consistent. So your edges are always gonna be messed up, because that's where you're holding and grabbing the clay. So I've got like thin spots next to thick spots from my fingers. I'm not worried about that. I'm not gonna use those edges. And in fact, every part that I know is like really messed up, I'm gonna cut those off right away. So I don't need all this clay. I don't need this whole amount of clay. So I'm gonna cut off these edges that are inconsistent in thickness, so that I can wedge these up and get them back into my soft clay right away so they don't dry out, okay? So those will get wedged up, put back into my clay, and then if you can see these cuts, it's a fairly consistent slab with just those few throws. If that's not thin enough for you, once you cut off your edges, just throw it out a little bit more. That's all there is to it. Really quick, easy way to make a slab.